Toxicodendron Diversilobum is known as Western poison oak or Pacific poison. Toxicodendron derives from a Latin word which means poison tree and Diversilobum which means diversely lobe. Western oak is a member of the group that includes poison ivy, poison sumac, and eastern poison oak. All of these species belong to the sumac or cashew family, all of which are viney shrubs and contain skin-irritating oil called orchil. Western poison oak is technically not poisonous, but rather allergenic. Western poison oak is one of the most common shrubs in Southern California. It is native from British Columbia south to Baja California, from sea level to about 5,000 feet in elevation, primarily in areas west of the Cascades and Sierras. It is typically found along the coast in scrubby areas or open woodland areas, and further inland valleys, foothill thickets, grassy hillsides, coniferous forests, and along streams. It is best grown in light, moist, sandy to medium, well-drained loams in full sun. Poison oak is not an ornamental plant. If found in the landscape in its native range, it is usually removed immediately.
All right.
So here we have poison oak. Sort of shiny, three-leafed. Oops, I just touched it. I'm really allergic.
Oh gosh.
The only thing that looks kind of like it is this berry, but it has prickers. So you can see if it has leaves of 3 but prickers, it's okay. If it has leaves of 3 without prickers, let it alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
The appearance of poison oak can be viney or shrubby. It may approximate a small tree with a fairly thick trunk growing 9 or 10 inches tall. The plant has fruits or berries. Poison oak berries are hairy, yellowish to cream in color, and bunch around these stalks much like grapes. The leaves, which is how most people identify it, have 3 leaflets, the terminal leaflet usually arising from a separate stem. In the spring, the western poison oak is green. It changes colors as the dry season lingers, turning red or even orange. In late fall or winter, there are no leaves on this plant, so they can be difficult to recognize. Here are some visuals to show for it. In January, most berries are gone and there are no leaves. In February, dormancy is broken, lots of reds. March, reds and light greens. April, leaves bronze, blossom in peaks. May, the plant is thick and darker green. June, the thinning of the foliage begins. July, rhizomes become visible, running along the surface of the ground. August, leaflets are this color and they will help you identify the plant. September, the foliage has thinned considerably. The dropped leaves are redder. October, the remaining leaves get really red. November, the fruit is mature, most of the leaves are gone. December, a few small pale green leaves are temporarily produced. Toxicodendron Diversilobum is a plant best known for its ability to cause allergic rashes after contact. The effects of poison oak are similar to those of poison ivy. It first causes severe itching, evolves into inflammation, colorless bumps, and then blistering when scratched. Some of the worst effects of poison oak may be experienced by those who inadvertently breathe in particulates from this burning plant, and this is to be avoided at all costs. People who breathe in the smoke and soot may develop serious inflammation of respiratory mucous membranes. In fact, hundreds of firefighters who battle summer and fall blazes in California coastal ranges are so severely affected that they are unable to work. Because of the serious economic impact due to lost employment time, poison oak injuries are covered by workers' compensation insurance in California. In poison oak, the sexes are separate. Heavy blossoming begins about April 1st and peaks late that month. Like poison ivy, it reproduces by creeping rootstocks or by the seeds. Poison oak uses birds to distribute parts of their seeds. Seasonally, birds get up to 25% of their food from poison oak. The immature seeds are non-nutritious and cause stomach pain. However, the mature seed is sugar-coated and the poison has changed to a gentle laxative. Birds absorb the sugar and also soften the seed's coat, which help these seeds germinate. Having eaten, birds move to cover to digest their food, and poop in as little as 15 minutes. For germination and early growth, poison oak prefers reduced light and constant moisture. It takes 3 to 5 years for the plant to reach sexual maturity. During those years, it grows towards the strongest light. To prevent being affected by poison oak, learn to recognize poison oak by using the phrase, "These are 3, let it be." Wear protective clothing and gloves when outdoors or when around this plant. Do not touch any part of poison oak. Never burn poison oak. It is considered to be a hazardous plant. Any unprotected contact with poison oak can cause significant and long-lasting skin irritation in reaction to a toxic plant. Keep animals from running through poison oak areas. If exposed to poison oak, as soon as possible after your exposure, change clothing and handle contaminated clothing carefully to avoid spreading the poison oak. Thoroughly wash the affected areas with soap and cool water. Rinse with copious amounts of cool water. Rubbing alcohol and rinsing with copious amounts of cool water is said to prevent skin irritation. Exposure to hot water increases itching. Also be prepared for an exposure by including hydrocortisone cream and oral antihistamines in your first aid kit when hiking or camping. If you're affected by poison ivy, most authorities agree that lotions, creams, and sprays containing anti-inflammatory corticosteroids are the most effective agents to relieve painful itching rashes. Serious outbreaks may require medical attention and hospitalization. Ideally, the best therapy when exposed to poison oak is to wash the contaminated areas thoroughly. The problem is that most ordinary bath soaps have little effect on removing the resinous sap. Washing the areas of the skin that contacted it with a mild detergent and warm water can greatly reduce the problem for most of us. You might also apply an ice pack or ice cube directly to the affected area to temporarily numb the itching. Poison oak is contagious. The fluid in the blisters does not contain the toxic poison oak chemical called urshol. If the blisters break, the fluid will not cause the poison oak to spread, but scratching other parts of the body with contaminated fingernails can spread the poison oak. The toxic chemical can remain under the nails for several days, unless carefully removed by thoroughly cleaning of the nails. A person who has washed thoroughly and has changed into clean clothing cannot spread poison oak. The only way to become a victim of poison oak is to make direct contact with the toxic resin. This is possible by coming in contact with a contaminated person who has not washed their hands properly or changed into clean clothing. Other secondary exposures may result from simply handling garden tools, hunting or sports equipment, or camping gear exposed to poison oak. Fur protects most pets that run through poison oak patches from developing symptoms, but people who touch contaminated animals can come directly in contact with toxic resin and can develop poison oak